welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're counting down our picks for the 10 most unsettling video game bosses of the 2020s so far. While these may not be the scariest bosses out there, they sure as heck creeped us out. Oh, and yeah, beware spoilers ahead. Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Choo-Choo Charles from Choo-Choo Charles.
It's him! It's him! Get to the gun!
With a name like Choo-Choo Charles, your mind likely won't conjure up any unsettling imagery. I don't think so, at least. That is, until you actually see this aberration. If you sort of mash together an unholy and grim version of Thomas the Tank Engine and a massive creeping spider, then what you get is the stalking, unsettling boss, Choo-Choo Charles. This dude is pure unrelenting terror as you scour and explore every inch of the moody open world map. Here's hoping you have plenty of firepower on your train to take this behemoth down for good. Chromatic Creation, Clair Obscure, Expedition 33. The OG creation boss towards the endgame is already downright unsettling, with its uber-powerful dark moves, macabre visage, and enormous size. However, the chromatic version of this boss is even more unsettling, at least for our money. The haunting feelings you get from this boss come in the form of how it looks, since after all, it's hard to actually describe. Sort of a horse monster made up of shadowy bodies, sort of black goop, and sometimes even resembling an insect of sorts, Chromatic Creation will fuel your nightmares in a game made up of brutal, unsettling bosses. Plus, its inverted attacks can downright decimate your party right from the start. So yeah, good luck.
That's more like it.
Cynthia Weaver, Alan Wake 2. Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking a generally normal Bright Falls woman, albeit yes, a bit kooky, wouldn't be all that unsettling. Well, my friend, you are in for a spooky treat as she makes her ominous presence known in Alan Wake 2. In the OG game, she actually helps Alan with his fight against the Taken, in addition to protecting the light. But without going into heavy lore dumps here, let's just say that she eventually succumbs to the dark presence and becomes an uber-powerful Taken herself. Saga's battle against Cynthia is straight out of a horror movie, since she's now essentially a haunting specter with unimaginable power. Her looming presence throughout the game stays with you for the long haul. Death, Darkest Dungeon 2.
Death has come to claim her elusive prize.
Okay, let's not mince words here. Every single boss encounter in the grimdark, turn-based roguelike Darkest Dungeon 2 is unsettling. But for our money, Death truly takes the rotting cake here. Darkest Dungeon 2 is a brutal, punishing game that will test both your resolve as well as your skills. One look at Death and you know things aren't going to go well for you and your party. Death's fleshy, decaying, monochromatic image will immediately set you on edge, especially as it rides atop its trusty, if very creepy steed, powerful scythe in hand. Death's Memento Mori, Shadow of Death, and Soul Reaver abilities, amongst others, are sure to test your party's mental willpower and stamina. Edward Crow, Crow Country. Boy, oh boy, where do we even start with the heinous Edward Crow? This dude is one bad bloke. In order to keep this sort of succinct, Edward Crow created the titular Crow Country amusement park. There, he recklessly harvested gold from special roots beneath his park, claiming it was actually from somewhere else in the world. Eventually, the mining led to an esoteric and very powerful time pool, might we add, where strange otherworldly guests emerged. With the possibility of humanity being wiped out, so he learns, Edward made terrible decisions decision after terrible decision, with looming lawsuits galore. Well, at the very end of the game, infected Elaine meets up with Edward at the pool. There, she uncovers more of the real truth, with Edward eventually voluntarily putting himself into the pool, where he turns into a hideous, monstrous version of himself, twisted and entangled by the guest's necrotic nature. Long story, sort of short here, this final boss is incredibly unsettling and unnerving, especially once you uncover all of the finer and more atrocious details of Edward Crow's malevolent machinations. Astel, Natural Born of the Void, Elden Ring. Elden Ring is chock full of unsettling creatures, bosses, and even NPCs alike. We could easily fill an entire list of unsettling bosses from this game. However, for us, Astel, Natural Born of the Void really sticks out. This legend boss might be one of the most mesmerizing and most unsettling of the lot. If you find yourself in the Grand Cloister, you can come face to face with this unnerving alien-like being. Composed of various star and galaxy debris for much of its insectoid body, it's honestly pretty hard to tell if you are battling a cosmic being or a warped version of something like a scorpion with a skull face. Astel's comic, nebula, and dark abilities can easily pummel you if you aren't careful enough. Just don't get lulled in by the boss arena's beautifully haunting cosmic ambiance. Fallen Archbishop Andreas, Lies of P. What is it with unsettling bosses oftentimes resembling insectoid creatures? Maybe it's because they look typical but also alien. Well, Lies of P's Fallen Archbishop Andreas feels straight out of a horror game. Oh, and just to keep in mind, this is no simple one-phase boss fight. Be prepared for two distinct and pummeling phases with this monstrous aberration. As his name implies, this now disgraced bishop of St. Frangelico Cathedral succumbed to greed and dark designs once his congregation fell to disease and death. Now being consumed by an unnatural darkness and insectoid design, the fallen Archbishop has one of the scariest visages we have ever seen, especially with his inverted face. Who's ready for some nightmares? Moreau, Resident Evil Village.
You're stupid. You talk too much. It's all over. I plugged away in.
Salvatore Moreau is one of the four lords of the region in Resident Evil Village. What makes Moreau so unsettling is the fact that, at times at least, he can draw out such empathy from the player with his seemingly downtrodden worldview. However, he quickly flips around to showcase his evil intentions, all for Mother Miranda. It's sad, really, watching Moreau continue to descend into his fleshy aquatic mutant form and madness. Once Ethan finally comes truly face to face with this monster of a man, he violently transforms into a hulking fish monster whose acid attacks are as lethal as his deceptive words. Abstract Daddy, Silent Hill 2 Remake. Good golly, this one is dark, so be prepared. To put it bluntly, Abstract Daddy is the haunting and unfortunate creation of Angela's trauma with her father and brother's sexual violence. Yeah, we warned you, it's very dark. In the case of Abstract Daddy, apart from the creepy name, the unsettling nature comes both in the form of how this beast looks, but also in how it weaves Angela's brutal and deeply saddening trauma into a true tapestry of terror. This boss creature looks to be like two humanoids formed together and some sort of pallet or small bed, with its grabbing arms ready to take hold of anything and anyone it deems worthy for its dark and evil deeds. Plus, that scene that follows with Angela is truly heartbreaking and harrowing.
Or you could just force me. Like he always did. You disgusting pig.
Incarnate Devotion, Blasphemous 2.
Are the same crimson clouds that heralded my welcome the grave omen of your judgment.
It's honestly pretty darn hard to think of any boss that can top Abstract Daddy in terms of unsettling nature. However, Incarnate Devotion from Blasphemous 2 is as close as can be. While probably interchangeable for the most unsettling, Incarnate Devotion is downright disturbing nonetheless, especially when it comes to its haunting visage. A godlike being formed of decaying gold filigree flesh, washed out bone, and a gold beating heart. It's pretty darn clear that the Penitent One's devotion may not lie in the right place, despite his best intentions. This last child of the miracle puts up quite the fight with plenty of seemingly wholly light-filled attacks. But the unnerving nature lies in Incarnate Devotion's esoteric machinations, where it almost feels like it's up to the player to decide on the Penitent One's true devotion. Incarnate Devotion is the epitome of a grave omen, and is a fantastic culmination of the Penitent One's journey through hell and back. So, do you agree with our picks for this list? What are some of the most unsettling bosses of the 2020s that you've experienced? Be sure to let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching this video from MojoPlays. Be sure to subscribe for more gaming videos every single day.